We're here on the bottom of Kuvav Amud Aleph. Omar Rav Brona Omar Rav. Turning now to Daf Kuvav Amud Beis. Hanotel Yodov. He washed his hands for a Suda before Kiddush. Now, normally, we're going to recite Kiddush and then wash our hands. But he did it in the reverse. And the halach is Lo Yikadish. According to Rav Bruna, the name of Rav, he should not recite Kiddush. And in this case, if he would recite Kiddush, it would be a hefsek between the Amotzi Lechem in Haaretz and the Netilas Yadayim. So once he already did the Netilas Yadayim, and he had kavanah that he would now begin his Suda, and Rav says now's not a good time to make Kiddush. So in this case, we would have to say that Kiddush itself is a hefsek, meaning it's called hesech hadas, and it wedges between the bracha that he made on the Netilas Yadayim and the hamotzi when he's ready to eat his bread. And therefore, a person should be very careful to postpone washing Netilas Yadayim until after Kiddush. According to one girsa, v'chein Omer Rav Ada bar Av Amar Rav, not al yodav lo yikadesh. Now, if he went ahead and he made Kiddush, he was Yotzei the mitzvah of Kiddush, he will have to wash Netilas Yadayim again because the Kiddush is a hefsek and he needs Netilas Yadayim samuch lehamotzi. And this is all a reflection of a Gemara in Brachas again on Daf Nun Beis. Takef leNetilas Yadayim Seuda. That Netilas Yadayim should be immediately before the Suda, immediately following Netilas Yadayim. That's when he begins his Suda. Now, this could have implications as far as Havdalah as well. If, let's say, a person washed his hands after Shabbos and he hasn't yet recited Havdalah, and he's about to start his Suda, then he should not recite Havdalah because Havdalah will be again a hefsek between his Netilas Yadayim and the Suda. Amalahu Rav Yitzchak bar Shmuel bar Marta. So Rav Yitzchak bar Shmuel says to Rav Huna and to Rav Ada bar Ava, if we have that girsa, Rav Ada bar Ava accepted Rav Huna, Rav Bruna. Akati lo nafshi the Rav and shchachninu lishmatete. We haven't even passed. In other words, Rav is still alive, and we've already forgotten the halachas that he taught us. Zimnin Sagir, on quite a few occasions, Havi Kayim Bekami the Rav. I was with Rav at the time of Kiddush, and Zimnin de Chavivile Rifti, Mekadish Rifti, Zimnin de Chavivile Achamra, Mekadish Achamra. He says very often, Rav was in the mood to eat a pas, what we call challah. That was chavivalo. Let's say, for example, he was very hungry. So he'd be mekadesh on pas. Other times he wasn't so hungry, and he was in the mood for wine. That was chavivle. He would be mekadesh on yayin. So you see that sometimes he's mekadesh on pas. Therefore, you would be notel yadayim before kiddush. That's not considered a hesech hadas for the achila that comes afterwards, and he could be mekadesh al pas, because he cannot be mekadesh al pas unless you notel yadayim first. We don't want to have an netilas yadayim after kiddush. We want the netilas yadayim to be there before. The kiddush is not a hefsek because he intends to be mekadesh al pas. So in effect, what we're saying is that if the Kiddush sets up a Suda ala pas, then Netilas Yadayim and Kiddush are all part of one entity. He washes his hands and he recites Kiddush. It's all within the context of the Suda that he's going to eat. If on the other hand he's being Makadish al Yayin, so the Kiddush al Yayin is not setting up a Suda, the Netilas Yadayim now is separated from the Suda with Kiddush right in the middle. But if he's going to be Makadish al Pas, then everything is wonderful because now the Kiddush is setting up the Suda, which immediately comes after Kiddush. No need to put the Netilas Yadayim in between Kiddush and Amotzi, because now the Netilas Yadayim is the beginning, the kickoff of the Kiddush to set up the Suda Shabbos. Amar Rav Huna Amar Rav. Tom. Okay, now we have machlokes. What's the din if a person ate before Kiddush? And we'll see the same thing applies before Havdalah. You're not allowed to eat before Kiddush because in doing so, you are setting up a Sudas Chol instead of setting up a Sudas Shabbos. The Kiddush is Koveh, the Suda is a Sudas Shabbos. But he went ahead and he was towing. So he ate something, some food stuff before Kiddush. Eino Makadish. According to Rav Huna, in the name of Rav, he cannot be Kiddush. He's going to need to wait until the next morning, on Shabbos morning, before he sets up his Suda, he'll recite Kiddush. Because again, it's part and parcel of Kiddush to set up the Suda. In other words, it's not just that Kiddush is necessary in order to create the Suda, but it goes the other direction. The Suda is necessary in order to set up the Kiddush. Meaning, it's part of the kiyum and the essence of Kiddush that it sets up the Suda. If you've already set up the Suda beforehand, according to the sheet of Rav, then Kiddush is not Kiddush. Kiddush is only Kiddush, and it's only valid if you set up a Suda. So therefore, he's going to have to wait till the next morning, till Shabbos, and then the Kiddush can set up the Suda because he didn't eat before Kiddush. Boy minei Rav China bar Chinina me Rav Huna. Toam mao sheyavdil. Are you going to go as far as to say that if he ate after Shabbos, before Havdalah, then he has to postpone his Havdalah till the next morning, till Sunday morning? How far are you going to go? Are you going to apply the same logic and the same din to Kiddush and to Havdalah as well? That just like you said, Tom lo yikadesh, so to Tom lo yavdil. Now, in the case of Tom lo yikadesh, we understood because the Suda has to be generated as a Suda Shabbos, and for that we need Kiddush. And Kiddush needs to generate that Suda. He started eating beforehand. A Suda's Chol. But in the case of Havdalah, it seems from this Gemara that Havdalah is necessary to set up a Suda's Chol, just the reverse of Shabbos, of Kiddush on Shabbos. And if he eats before Havdalah Motzi Shabbos, then that eating is like an eating of Shabbos. It's like a Suda Shabbos because he hasn't made Havdalah. Havdalah is what engenders the Suda's Chol. The Suda's Chol is kicked off. It's begun by Havdalah. And here we have a machlokes. Amalei Rav Huna responds to Rav China. Ani Omar Tom Mavdil. I don't have to be machmir in Havdalah like I was machmir in Kiddush. Because although I'm not meant to eat before Havdalah, but if I ate before Havdalah, I don't forfeit my mitzvah of Havdalah. Rav Asi Omar, Tom Eino Mavdi, he has to wait till tomorrow because Havdalah has to be a kickoff of a Sudas Chol. And if you eat before Havdalah Motzi Shabbos, you've eaten, for all intents and purposes, a Sudas Shabbos, because it's the Havdalah that makes that transition between a Sudas Shabbos and a Sudas Chol. Rabbi Yirmiyah bar Abba ikla lebei Rav Asi and ishtale v'toim midi. For some reason, Rabbi Yirmiyah forgot and he ate something before Havdalah. So it was Motzei Shabbos and Havulei Kasa B'Avdil. And afterwards they brought him a koshel yayin and he recited Havdalah. He didn't say, let's wait till tomorrow because I accidentally ate. Amrullah Debese. So Rav Asi's wife turns to Rav Asi, and she's because they were the hosts, and she says to him, "V'amarlo avin hachi." She spoke to her husband in third person. What respect? Mar, you Rav Asi didn't say anything. You hold Tom Eino Mavdil, like we said before. Amalei, Rav Asi said Shavke. You know what? Even though he's in my presence and he's violating my minhag, I would have said he has to Rabbi Yirmiyah would have to wait until the next morning to recite Havdalah. But nevertheless, let him go. Why? Kirabe Svirle. He is relying on the Shita of his Rebbe, who is Rav. And Rav himself, as Rav Huna quoted his name, said that Tom Mavdil. Now, there is one Shita that there's a Knas Dirabanan, Yeshkoch Biad Chachavim, Lako Dov Min Torah. In other words, he's being mevatel the mitzvah Kiddush Halayla, which is min Torah, and Kiddush Hayom is only a substitute min Rabbanan. And yet, if he ate, we're going to postpone Kiddush until the morning, and in effect forfeit a mitzvah d'oraisa of Zochros Yom Shabbos L'Kansha. But the answer is Yesh Koch Biad Chacham. If they want to cancel him and they want to punish him, so to speak, penalize him for eating before Kiddush and forcing him to wait for his Kiddush until the next morning, they can do so. They have the koach to do so. However, the Minchas Chinuch claims that a person who didn't recite Kiddush at night is chayav min Torah to recite Kiddush during the day. And therefore, they're not being oker his mitzvah of Kiddush as a penalty for eating before Kiddush. So this is a fundamental machlokes as to whether or not in an event that he doesn't make Kiddush at night and he has to postpone his Kiddush till the day, is that only a Rabbanon or that Kiddush is a Kiddush d'orais? Omer Rav Yosef, Omer Shmuel. Am Eino Mekadosh. Rav Yosef holds like that shita that we had earlier, which was Rav Huna's shita in the name of Rav, that Tom Eino Mekadosh. Not only that, in the name of Shmuel, we went even a step further. Tom Eino Mavdil. That far Rav didn't go. Rav said Tom Eino Mekadosh. But when they asked Rav Huna, what would Rav say about Tom and Havdalah? He said, Tom Mavdil. But Shmuel went a step further. Shmuel said that just like Tom Eino Mekadosh, so too Tom Eino Mavdil. V'Rabba Rav Nachman Omer Shmuel, another tradition in the name of Shmuel, is Tom Mekadosh v'Tom Mavdil. And according to this tradition, Shmuel went as far as to say that even in Kiddush, if he was Toim, he can still go ahead and recite Kiddush even though he was Toim illegally before Kiddush. And this leads us to Kuf Zayin Amud Aleph, and we'll just learn a little bit of the beginning of the Amud. Amar Rava Hilkasa, we paskin Tom Makadesh, Tom Mavdi. That like Shmuel, even in the case of Kiddush, if he was Toim, then b'diavad he's allowed to be Makadesh. We're not going to penalize him and require that he wait till the next morning. Kiddush, but Erev Shabbos, meaning Belel Shabbos, is Makadesh v'holech kol hayom kulo ad Motzai Shabbos. We'll give him up to Motzai Shabbos to recite Kiddush, and there's no possibility of reciting Kiddush after Shabbos is gone. That we understand. Which means up till Revi. And so here we're up to Amemar, Daf Kuf Zayin Amud Aleph. And Rabbosai, if you have a chance to listen to the shir that I gave for last night for yesterday's daf, that's Kuf A, then Tov Aleichem Bracha. You'll be blessed. Let me wish everyone a Shavua Tov, and thank you so much.